Hi, guys. We're
Good.
back today with another interview. Today, I have an amazing guest. Her name is Chrissy Foster. And Chrissy, thank you so much for joining today to come on and talk to us about everything in the life of a TC or transaction coordinator. Welcome.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Glad to be here.
So happy you're here. So I was wondering, what did you do before you found Pace Morby and became a transaction coordinator for him?
Yeah. So I actually had a 17-year career in healthcare before I came over into this industry, which has been exciting. My story is very similar to Tiffany's. Actually, I listened to your interview with Tiffany not long
Oh,
ago.
cool.
I spent my last year at a tech startup also, and I found myself, my entire department had been let go. And we had actually the I think it's never a good sign when you eliminate the quality and the compliance departments when you're in healthcare.
That's not good.
That's a pretty big red flag, right?
Yeah, for sure.
We weren't all that surprised. I was shocked the day that it happened, but I wasn't totally surprised.
Yeah.
So that happened. My husband and I had already set into motion that we were moving from Austin to Houston. So
Nice.
I kind of found myself in this weird spot. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, apply for only remote jobs? Apply for jobs in Houston, knowing that we don't live there yet? Like, what do we do? And
Yeah.
we had invested in a multifamily property a few years before that.
Nice.
We just kind of got into some of the investing bug, and we had an opportunity, so we'd invested in that. And we thought, like, how can we do more of this? We had a
Yeah.
friend joining Pace Morby's group, and he said, if you're interested, we'll do it together. We'll hold each other accountable. So that was last March. We
Ooh.
joined the Sub 2 group. Yeah. And through that friend, I met Niles Carlton, who's now my partner. I say he's my partner. I actually work for his company. So
Okay.
our company is My TC Service. It's actually his company that he graciously took me under his wing and has kind of
Awesome.
shown me the ropes and everything. So prior to Top Tier TC, I started working with Niles. We were doing, I guess, just to back up a second, through the Sub 2 program, I did the avatar class. I was looking or learning about all the avatars, and I thought TC work is something that was very close to what I was doing in my career in
Nice.
healthcare. So I thought, like, this is an easy way. Easy. This this is aligned with what I already know. So to me, this was like an easy way to start, maybe making some money quickly,
Yeah.
versus some of the other things I'd never done before. I'd never cold call sellers. I'd never cold called agents. So I was like, I'm not saying I can't do it, but I think when we're looking at skills that I have today,
Yep.
these are the skills I have today. So I started going down that path. The same friend who encouraged me to do Sub 2 knew Niles through an investing group. He introduced us. It happened that Niles was just busy enough that he could use some help. So anyway, like I said, he took me under his wing and kind of showed me everything. And then when Top Tier came out in July, he and I decided together we were going to do it again, hold each other accountable. So we
Nice.
were kind of in that first wave of people that joined Top Tier and started doing the class together. And anyways, that's where I've been for the last year, and not quite year and a half, but year and some change. So
That's so cool that you were like
mhm.
in just at the perfect timing, really. Like
Yeah,
got your feet
seriously.
wet and then that program came out. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now did your husband take the Sub 2 course with you as well?
Nope.
Okay. Okay. So it's you you took it and then you
Yep.
met are you saying Miles or Niles?
Niles.
With
Yeah,
an
it
N.
starts with an N. Niles.
Okay,
Yeah.
Niles. Oh, that's so cool
Yeah.
that you were able to
Yeah.
like establish a partnership right out the gates.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love that.
Right.
Um, so that's kind of similar to my story. I signed up to be a gator and then found out about TC later. And I thought, you know what? Those are skill sets that I think I have like right out the gate. So let's
Yeah.
go that way. And then, the two will tie together. So I'm sure you're finding a similar theme with yours that like your Sub 2 course has been really helpful for you being a TC.
Yeah, 100%. It's nice to know where a file's going when you get one.
Yeah.
I think it's helpful to know, like, what is sub two and what are their plans, or if they're assigning it, like what's the plan, and to kind of know just a little bit more. Not that you can't figure it out, but it's definitely, when I was first starting out, it was definitely helpful to understand that base level of like where we're going with. And then also to understand just some of the different avatars in sub two, right? So there's wholesalers, there's people making direct agent calls, like I said. So just having that background and knowing who's who and who's doing what, like, what are their strengths? I think that helps when you're a TC.
Yeah. Oh, definitely gives you a more well-rounded perspective on the whole thing. That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about how I noticed on your Facebook site that you attend like events that you tell people about, like come meet me here. Can you tell us a little bit about that as far as like the marketing efforts that you do for your business?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for asking. I love this. I love this question. So I had mentioned that we had already set into motion. We were moving to Houston. We've been living in Austin for, I don't know, 14 or 15 years,
Okay.
and moved to Houston because of my husband's job. So we got here and I did not know anyone.
Oh, wow.
My husband's cousin lives here, and that is it. I don't have any friends in Houston. I don't know anyone. So I kind of set up everything, and I thought, okay, how am I gonna meet people? I mean, I can't just I cannot just sit on my computer all day every day and like not make any friends. How am I gonna make friends? But thankfully sub two is huge. It's huge in Houston. So I was very, I don't want to say I'm an introvert. I think that I am good in front of people, but sometimes it's hard to be a little bit brave, right? I had to put on that brave hat and just venture to, when we moved here, they used to have these they called them power hours. This was on Saturday mornings. Usually a title company would host them, and sub two students would come and network with other sub two students. You'd learn how to make calls. They had kind of some coaches there. Anyway, so through that, I just, like I said, I just kind of had to be really brave the first couple times and just kind of walk in and say I'm a TC. And it turned out I was the only TC going to some of these.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
perfect because they all need you.
I believe so.
Heck yeah.
I felt a little out of place though, being the only one, because they're there to make calls and they're there to, try to learn how to call sellers and call agents and things like that. But I just kind of sat down and started talking to people and introducing myself. I introduced myself to the title company that was hosting. I would bring, I should have gotten some out so I could show you, but I would bring things to hand out to people. Like one time I brought donuts and I said paperwork. Something like paperwork does not have to. Oh no, do not be afraid of paperwork. And there was like donuts there, and so
love it.
Yeah, I passed out suckers that said paperwork doesn't have to suck. Call me.
Yes.
So things like that, just like an opportunity to kind of get out there and hand out stuff to people and introduce myself. And through that one of the title companies has actually invited me to come and speak. They do educational events pretty regularly.
Nice.
So they've asked me to kind of speak and just talk about being a TC and talk about how TCing can help you and things like that. So I'm very, very grateful for those opportunities. Part of being in a huge city like Houston, it's just an advantage, right? Like there's a bunch of events. Even now I've noticed I'm in North Houston, I'm in the Woodlands. So now I can kind of be picky about just going to the North Houston events that are a little more, or they're closer to me. It makes a little more sense. Houston's huge. So
that's so cool. Oh, I'm so proud of you for like you say, the first couple, like that would be pretty awkward, but it paid off.
I literally knew no one. Yeah, I just had to walk in and like big smile and say, I'm new. I'm a TC. I'm new to Houston. I don't know anybody. I had to Google how to get here. I don't know how to get home.
Right. Very new.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The people here are so nice. And I think that about Houston in general, but definitely the people in sub two, people are so nice. And if you are willing to put yourself out there and you're willing to take that step and say like, I'm learning, I'm new, I'm here, somebody will reach out and be like, come on, bring you along, hold the door for you. You know what I mean? Like somebody is willing to do that, which is so great about this community. So I've made some really good investor friends, some really good clients. I mean, people that I really respect. And anyway,
I love that.
I can't speak enough about networking events. That makes so much of a difference.
Love it. Okay, so there's networking events for real estate in general, but then the one that you went to, or the ones that you went to, happen to have like sub two people there. What do you think that people should focus on? You know, our inner community when doing networking, or do you think it would have been just as valuable if you just looked up a real estate investment group and showed up?
Oh, I think both. I mean, I'm active in some of the women in real estate investing. It's got
Cool.
some kind of a name like that. Sorry, real estate
Yeah.
investor. Anyway, I'm active in some of those groups also.
Yeah.
For me, it was really about like getting my name out and making friends was kind of where I started. And through that, it just one has led to another. I think sub two is great, especially a sub two event like a power hour event where people are going to make calls like those the people that attend those power hours, those are action
Yeah.
takers, right? Those are not just the people.
Yeah.
That's a different group than people that are like, oh, let's meet up and whatever.
Right.
um I'm thinking happy hour, which I do those too, and those are a lot
Yeah.
of fun, but I'm zeroing in on power hours because you're talking about people that are going there to work, to get better,
Yeah.
to improve their skills. Like those are like they're there to take action, right? So that's like a good
That's
way to
so cool.
capitalize. And
Yeah.
then, but I think there's value in the real estate groups, the investor groups, things like that. And that, the Facebook groups, or you can find some local in your community. So I go to a couple here. I go to one that's not even a real estate group, it's just for entrepreneurs.
Hmm.
And it's so crazy how I walked in and they actually make everybody introduce yourself. It's like around 100 and something people that show up for this one, and everyone has to introduce yourself. And
Nice.
it's crazy. I bet at least a third, probably close to a half of the people that attend that are in real estate in some capacity. They're title companies or brokers or agents. So even those,
That's
and
awesome.
through that, I've met bookkeepers and CPAs and all kinds of things that can help your business,
Yeah.
Um, so I would say not even just limiting to real estate or investor groups, but if you can find something for entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
there's opportunities there too. And
Yeah.
while it, like I said, it takes bravery and courage, I do think the in-person events are so much better than, just reaching out. I mean,
Yeah.
do what you can, right? Some people, I know not everybody is in a huge
Big
metropolis like
city.
Houston where
Yeah.
there's so many
Yeah.
opportunities. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's so great. Thank you for all the ideas that you planted into people's minds. I also love the women's specific one, to empower each other. And then maybe there's a lot of women out there that don't know what a TC is, and this could be a great opportunity, life-changing opportunity for them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for
Love that.
sure.
So curious, the title company that hosted these power hours, were they involved with, like, do they like creative financing people, like sub two people?
They do. They do. So, the one that has hosted most frequently, they used to host Power Hour every Saturday. They've kind of backed off a little bit for just a bunch of different reasons, but they've
Yeah.
backed off of doing them. But they were hosting Power Hours like twice a month, inviting all the sub two and Gator people and top tier
Yeah.
TCs once they came around, but inviting all of them in on Saturday mornings to help. I think they also do a lot of education on creative financing.
Okay.
So they have really, I think that title company in particular really understands the market today is really good for creative financing. It's
Yeah.
not always like that, but they understand this is a tool in our tool belt. It's not for every single transaction. Like, right? Every house that's for sale doesn't make sense for creative financing,
Right.
but some of them do.
Yeah.
And I think it is a good, and I tell that to agents all the time, like it's not for every one of your clients, but it is a tool in your tool belt. And this title company has really capitalized on that. And they're like, in the market today, creative financing is, it's helping bring properties into us and help with our closings and everything. So
Yeah.
they're definitely a creative friendly title company. I know not all of them are like that, but they are very welcoming for sub two students and very welcoming for those investors.
That,
And they want to educate people on how to do it correctly. So I think
yes.
that's the key there.
Yes. No, thank you for clearing that up, because I guess I had an impression that title companies think of creative financing as like burdensome, like, oh, all this extra work that we're not used to doing, which is why having a TC, work in conjunction with them is super helpful. But they're actually welcoming, creative financing and educating people on it. That's pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, and I think that to me, that's a takeaway for TCs that are watching this, that if you're reaching out to title companies, like use it as an
Yeah.
opportunity. Like it's a tool for their tool belt, right? It's a
Yeah.
chance for them to bring some properties that, maybe they would have to turn away. They wouldn't be able to close and things like that. But if they can find a way to make it work,
Mhm.
it is an opportunity to make some money on those files. Like,
Yeah.
again, it's not for every house is not going to be creative financed,
Yeah,
but
yeah. So um if you were marketing, or I don't know if that's the right word, but if you approached a title company just, blind and walked in and introduced yourself and they were not used to doing creative finance deals, how would you, what do you think would be the best way to introduce this world to them and show them that it is a great tool in their toolbox? Would you like bring a gator and a sub two person with you, or set up like a Zoom meeting to explain stuff, or do you have any ideas?
oh, maybe I will tell you how I have done this in the past when
Okay.
I've met title companies. Again, at some networking events, title companies show up too because they're interested in meeting investors because
Yeah.
they want the clients also, right? So I've met them and I try really hard to let them do all the talking. Again, that's like it takes some bravery, right? So if I can get
Yeah.
somebody else talking, it's great. So
That's
I just
smart.
throw it back to them.
Yeah.
I'll ask them like, what is your experience with creative financing? And I
Mhm.
promise every title agent and also every real estate agent has a story to tell you. If you just ask them like, what's been your experience?
Yeah.
They have some, so they can talk to you about it. Like, I'm not going to say they're all bad. Some of them have amazing stories, but they definitely have a story. And so I kind of talk
Yeah.
to them and approach it like I've said, not every transaction is going to be creative, but it is an
Sure.
opportunity in the current market. People are having trouble selling houses, so maybe a good opportunity for now. And I try to tell them that it, I try to say, if you've had an investor that makes you want to put your head in your hands, feel free to reach out and see, and maybe it's an opportunity that I can help you.
I
I've
love
said, I
that.
know not everybody understands. There is a gap between when you get the contract signed and when the title company closes or when you close the title company. Like there is a gap there, and
Mhm.
there's some tasks that don't really fall, like the investor may not really understand what to do and they don't really fall in the title company's scope, and they
Yeah.
might do it, but they also might not love it. So I try to tell them
Oh,
like just recognize that there's a gap there. And if I can help you, if you have a
mhm.
notorious investor who, you want to help them out, but man, if they can just do XYZ,
Got it.
I think that helps, just, and to tell them that top tier TCs, we're here, we're out there, and our goal is to help protect our title companies. Because if title companies decide not to do creative financing, then none of us are doing this anymore.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. That is such a good thing to reassure them of. Yeah, we want to help make their lives better. What other industry that correlates, with what you do as a TC would be good to reach out to? I mean, obviously, like I guess investors and real estate agents. But what other piece of the puzzle can you paint a picture for us that would be good to market to?
If you go to some of these different real estate events, investing events, I found a couple flippers, which
Okay.
has been pretty interesting, to chat with. First of all, they're just very interesting because they're doing some cool stuff. They have, if you talk to a flipper about what are you working on, what's a cool project you've done, they have really interesting stories to tell. So I
Nice.
think that's a good opportunity. And kind of through that, if you start chatting with um I mean, occasionally, like a contractor will have a good story for you, and you might
Ah,
be able to lead to somebody, and contractors might be able to lead you to agents or somebody else who you
okay.
might be able to work with. And then I think I don't know, I know a few gators, but I always think gators and then people that are working with gators, so lenders and some of those. Like it's interesting how
Hmm.
many you can really help out if you know the Gator paperwork, and you can kind of
Yeah.
help with the lending. When you start getting in there, like that's a market too that people I think forget about sometimes. I know it's easy, you get in the sub two group and you find Gators and things like that, but Gators aren't the only ones lending on real estate out there. So when you start getting into some of these investor groups and you find
Mm,
people that are investors, like not sub two and not Gator, like there's opportunities there too that
Yeah.
I think people forget about.
That's a really good point. I almost asked about lending, but then my mind went to, well, no, because traditional lending wouldn't do creative financing probably. But you make a good point. We call them gators, but it's really private money lender, and there's a lot of those out there.
Right, right. And there's a lot of people connecting, hard money lenders and private money lenders. Like there are people out there that are connecting all those to do projects and things. And like all those people are good to reach out to. And
Yeah, or like a project manager would probably be somebody
yeah,
that connects all the
yeah,
dots.
yeah.
Love that.
Another good one.
Got it. Well, thank you. That's great advice.
Yeah,
Um, so question about Niles. Maybe I'll end up interviewing Niles as well.
yeah.
You mentioned the website. Can you go ahead and read off what it is so that people can find you?
Yeah, I love it. Thank you. It is mytcservice.net. And there you can find our scope of work. You can find all of our breakdown of our fees. It's kind of a basic website. There's not a lot on there, but it is. I feel like it's exactly what you need. We also do have a link for a form you can fill out if you're an investor and you want to send us all of your paperwork and everything. We have a secure link you can fill in. We have some investors that like to do that in the evenings versus calling us to go through things. They'll just fill out the form and send it. You can attach contracts and stuff, and then we'll get to work on it first thing in the morning. Yeah, because sometimes they want to use their daylight hours to be calling sellers and not, walking us through things. So we put that form on there just in case somebody wants to do that. So it's been helpful. But yeah, I think I also like to direct investors there so you can see what I think is the most important thing on there is our scope of work. So you can get on there and see like exactly what you're signing up for.
Love it. Love it. Thank you. Yeah, I did take a look at the website, and I actually love the streamlined, simple look of it. And I was curious because I'm learning all this right now. I was like, is this a landing page or is it, I don't know, is that what it's called, a landing page basically? Because it's all on one page?
Yeah, I think so. We just have, it's just that one straightforward page.
Yeah.
I wish I could tell you.
Nice. It's clean and simple and it's good.
Well, thank you. That was all Niles. He is the software brain of the two of us. So he's the developer.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And then do you and Miles also partner up on investment deals of your own? Or is Miles also mostly a TC? How does the division of roles go?
Yeah, so Niles is
Niles.
TC. It's okay, Niles. He's also a developer. He's developing his own properties, which is cool. And he's an investor. He's a landlord. He has a bunch of properties actually. And I think he property manages all of them on his own, which is incredible too. Yeah, because I have a couple properties that I manage and I do not love it, but he does all of that. So he kind of dabbles in a lot of things. He's pretty busy. So, and then TCing is, I think he and I have the same opinion about TCing. That is kind of what puts groceries on our table and gas in the car and gives us time and just the time and the space to do other things in real estate so we can invest and do other things too. It's not the only thing that either one of us do, but he definitely has a broader view of real estate investing. He's also an agent and a broker. That's how he started, as an agent and a broker. So
he's literally like every aspect all in one guy.
Yes, I feel so blessed that somebody introduced us because I can ask him. I mean, he showed me the ropes about TCing, of course, since he'd already been doing that. But it's nice to have somebody to bounce, deals off of and be like, "What do you think of this?" And he's like, "No way," or "It seems like a big flip," or whatever. So it's just nice to have somebody who's so knowledgeable in real estate, especially because I'm still, fairly new at this. I feel like it's a year and a half, but I still feel new.
You're humble, but I got to tell you, on the meetings that I've been able to join where you're on them, you stand out as somebody that's very knowledgeable and
thank you.
One of the leaders in the group. So yeah,
thank you.
I think you're just humble. She knows a lot, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So tips and tricks for success. A brand new TC right out of the gate. What do you think they should be focusing on to get that grocery money in ASAP?
Yeah. Very first thing is start introducing yourself to people. I know in sub 2, I don't know if they do this in Gator. In sub 2, they start telling you meet 50 people. They're, try to make 50 friends. And I know it's hard for TCs. We're categorized as being introverts. So I know it's hard, but just get out there and really start meeting people and start making friends, not just other TCs, like really start meeting other investors and start being active on the Facebook page and providing value. I know I'm not the only person that'll say that, but I think investors when they're looking for TCs, I think sometimes they'll post and say looking for a TC, and then 100 people will comment, I'm a TC or this person's a TC or whatever. And I think a lot of times what they're going to do is go to your Facebook page and see who's active, who's posting, who's tagging other people, and they're going to see like who's bringing value to the community. I think that matters, if your name is
Yeah.
out there in ways that like you're helping other people and people are talking about you, in a positive way. I am thinking about Jace, who I talked to on Sunday or Monday. I called her and I was talking to her about something. And the next day I saw on Facebook, somebody had also talked to her over the weekend and commented like, I'm so grateful for her. And I was like,
Aw,
me too,
she
me
was a busy
too.
girl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
helping out other people. So I think people look for that. So I would say networking and, getting out and meeting people and providing value and, this is very hard for me to say, but you can spend 40 hours a week on Zooms, on TC Zooms, on Sub 2 Zooms, and whatever,
Yeah.
and you're not making any money doing that.
Yeah.
So I would say be very particular about your Zooms. And if you're doing a Zoom, like make sure it's providing some value. So you're learning something, so you're taking notes, you know what I mean? You're reaching out to other people in the chat while you're doing it,
Mhm.
like things like that. Like make sure that that's an hour spent that's very valuable and
Mhm.
not you have it on and you're listening while you're, checking Instagram and playing Sudoku or whatever. Like make sure
Right.
that you're being like very intentional about your time.
Yeah.
And if you're on those TC Zooms, like make sure you're listening and it's valuable and then I would say also if you're in Sub 2 for sure, and I'm assuming Gator is like this also, but there's a bunch
Yeah.
of Zooms every week in Sub 2. And
Yeah.
I would not get clouded with like, oh, I have to be on all of these. But I would pick some that you're really interested in where you can get some value
Yeah.
and kind of see what investors are doing and hear some of their struggles, like the current struggles they're facing. That's really helpful. And people really respect you when you can go to a meetup and talk about things that are going on in the industry and you have more to talk about than just like, I'm a TC, how can I help
Yeah.
you? Like that's not, there's a bunch of TCs out there. So if you can,
Yeah.
kind of talk to them about what are they facing? What do they have going on? So
Mhm. I
I
love
feel
it.
like I should have given you some good bullet points.
TCs are organized. That's why she said that. No, that was actually very helpful. So, what about the new TC that is thinking, okay, I need to earn an income from this ASAP. I got my badge and passed my test, but I, haven't actually done one yet. So,
Yeah.
what would you just say to someone like that? To when they're
Yeah.
networking and maybe they're like, I'm a TC in title only.
Yeah. I would say first know that your people are coming and it's hard. It's hard. That first one is hard. The first several are hard. But you probably know somebody or you have a circle that you can start reaching out to, right? So I would say as soon as you get in, start meeting people in Sub 2 or in the free Facebook group. Like you don't have to be in Sub 2. You could join the PACE free Facebook group and start getting
Okay.
in there and talking to people and not just saying, I'm a TC, I'm a TC, I'm a TC. Get in there and start looking at posts and start talking to people about what they have going on. Because when
Yeah.
they find you interesting, they're going to come back to you and then be like, I need a TC or I could use a TC or how could I use a TC? Right. So
Yeah.
be in there talking and not just saying like, I'm a TC, I'm a TC, I'm a TC, because that's not going to
Frantically.
get you there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would also say if you're a TC and you have a friend or a family member who's a real estate agent, talk to them about, do you have a TC at your brokerage or could I help you on your TC on what can I TC a deal for you? Or do you have an agent friend who doesn't have a TC in their brokerage? Because there's a lot of agents that don't. A lot of them aren't busy enough to hire a TC. They just do it themselves because they
Yeah.
don't they either don't have one at their brokerage or they're not that busy. So everybody knows a real estate agent, right? So
Mhm.
just talk to your agent and say, or if you have a friend or a cousin or whoever, and just ask, like, could
Yeah.
I TC a file for you, or do you have somebody? So those are two places to start.
Yeah.
Um, and I would say, you know, be honest that I'm trying to get my first file, because there
Mhm.
are people out there who want to help the people get their first one. Like
That's
that
cool.
is, if you're in sub two, if you're in Gator, I know I keep talking about this too, but I know in sub two for sure, if you're like, hey, I'm a new TC, I'm trying to get my first file, people want to help people like that, but you have to be honest about it
Yeah.
and, be willing to say, like, I will partner with another TC I will have somebody in the passenger seat while I'm
Yeah.
driving, make sure that this goes smoothly. But I need to start somewhere. And I think once you get a client, it's really easy for that to be a repeat client, or for that client to have a partner.
Yeah.
My business partner does
Yeah.
this too. Let me see, so
That's
know that it is hard.
yeah.
And once you get one, it will get easier.
I
I hope
love
that's
that.
helpful. It's hard.
No,
I mean,
that was actually super helpful. I had a lot of thoughts that I wanted to draw off of from that. So one thought was, you know, y- your first TC deal, might seem hard, but then it's not like you're gonna have multiple firsts. You're gonna have your first wrap. You're gonna have your first sub two. You're gonna have your first cash. You're gonna have your first, all the different variety of deals that are out there. So just get used to having your firsts, because there's going to be a lot of firsts.
Yeah.
Even if it's not your first file, it's going to be your first time doing that type of transaction.
Right.
And then I also was thinking it would probably be a good strategy, because like you said, people do want to help people. So if you, instead of keeping it general, maybe you say, I want to TC on a cash transaction. Get really specific.
Yeah.
And then people will be like, I have a cash transaction. I'm going to use her. She specifically asked for that. And then get really good at that. And then, okay, now I want to TC on a sub two. And, so thank you for giving me those ideas just now as you were talking. It was really helpful.
And I
Yeah.
think sometimes it's easy for new TCs, and I did this myself, so I'm guilty of this, to say, I live in Texas, so I really want to focus on Texas. I think I'm going to get good at Texas, and then I'll try other states. And I would advise not to do that. I would
Okay.
say, if you want to look for a sub two or a cash or a hybrid or something like that, you're like, I really want to TC my first sub two and things like that. I think that's a great idea. But I think limiting to states, because what you'll find is it's going to be rare that you have an investor who's like, I'm only, I feel like investors say, I need a TC in Arizona, they're everywhere. And it's so similar. I mean, there are some nuances in different states, but for the most part, like, you can TC anywhere. So don't limit yourself.
Yay. I love
Yeah.
that.
And I
That's
would
really
also
cool.
say, and thank you. I just felt like I did that at first. I was like, oh no, it has to be Texas because it's what I know. And that's
Yeah.
my map up there. I know you can't see it from where you are, but I have push pins in every state that I've TC'd. So I have a goal of trying to get to all 50.
Plus Puerto
I think
Rico.
I'm on 20 right now. Plus, yeah, exactly. So
That's
it's fun,
awesome.
but be open-minded to that. And I would also say, when you're first starting out, I just thought of this, but do not shy away from an opportunity. I've seen people do this where, like, a title company will invite them to come speak and they're like, oh no, I'm new, I can't do that. And I'm like, don't. You go and you tell them what you don't have to know what Molly knows. You've taken the course, so you just have to be one step ahead of the investor that you're talking to when it comes to TCing. You don't have to know everything the investor knows about investing, right? So if you get an opportunity, do not say no. Even if you're scared, like, take that step and just go and ask for people in the TC group to help you. I have done presentations. I had not done that many files when I did my first presentation. And I was like, I don't want to say fake it till you make it, because I felt like I wasn't faking it. I felt like I was just, like, putting one foot in front of the other and just going with what I knew,
I love it.
Make your presentation stuff that you know.
Yeah. And again, that's really humble advice, because, it was kind of vulnerable of you to say that, but it was such good advice, because like you said, all you have to know is be one step ahead. one step ahead, or talk about, certain transactions that maybe, maybe a handful know about those, but maybe a handful of the investors there don't. So
Yeah.
that's a great advice. So it's really about putting yourself out there. It sounds like, and I don't know, envisioning success and envisioning, the files coming to you, and
Yeah.
they will, right? And being confident about it, and knowing that there's a support network within the community. There's people like you that have beautiful hearts and are willing to, help others. So thank you for that.
100%. And I tell people all the time, if you get a file and you're not sure, ask somebody in the group, somebody in Talk to Your TC, me, or there's lots of people that will be like, you don't have to JV with me on it. Like, I will help you. I will help you walk through this file. Like, you can do it. You can do it. And there's lots of people to support you. So
that's so cool. Love that. And then back to your geographic comment about not just staying in your state. I also love that as a TC, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you could do this from anywhere in the world, right?
Yeah. As far as I know, I think so.
Okay.
As long as there's Wi-Fi.
That's so amazing. That's so amazing.
Yeah.
So and because you can get the help you need through the community online. So either way, you're going to be fine. So why Texas is big, but why limit yourself?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't say no. That was some advice Niles gave me when I first started. He was like, just say yes and we'll figure it out. Whatever your investor says, just say yes and we'll figure it out. And if we get down the road and we find a hiccup, we'll figure it out, So that's kind of been
solutions, man.
My attitude.
Yeah. No, I love
sometimes
that.
It's hard. Sometimes you get down the road and you're like, this is hard. This is more than I thought it was going to be, but just say yes.
Love that. So make this the year of yes. I love that. That's great advice. Okay. Well, that was so powerful. Thank you so much. Is there anything that I didn't ask that maybe you were thinking like you would want to add before we, wrap this one up?
Not that I can think of. I thought you asked some really good questions. I watched Tiffany's video from the other day too, which was great, and she's so good. Yeah,
Tiffany's awesome. I love her.
She's awesome. Yeah. There's so many awesome people in this community. So
that's
and
great.
hats off to you for putting yourself out there. This what you're doing, interviewing people, isn't easy either. So
thank you. I love this. Like, this is not even work for me. This is so fun for me to do.
Yeah.
So I'm just really grateful that you were like, heck yeah, I'll do it.
Of course.
So, really, you said yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So best way for somebody to contact you, anybody that's watching this video that wants to become a TC or wants to become involved in any way or even have your services, how can they reach out to you?
Awesome. Yeah, you can find us at mytcservice.net, or my email address is team@mytcservice@gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook, Chrissy Foster.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today and for sharing what you did from the heart with everybody. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
You too.
You.